Hi. This is the session 2 of our Elastic File Share in AWS. In the previous session, we discussed about what is EFS and what is the need of EFS. We briefly understood that whenever you land into a situation where multiple servers in your network, if they want to read and write across a common storage, then the type of storage that we use in general on-prem is NFS. NFS stands for Network File Share. In AWS, it offers as a service, as a managed service, which also we can refer it as a platform as a service. And in that category, the name of the service that is offered in AWS is EFS. EFS stands for Elastic File Share. Underneath that, it uses NFS. In the previous session, we have demonstrated if we are having multiple servers where all the servers parallelly want to read and write on the top of the server. That means payment servers want to read the data and user servers want to write the data, or payment servers want to read, or other servers. We demonstrated and we created a file share and we mounted across the servers, and whatever the data that we wrote here, we can also see them on the top of the user servers parallelly. Now, what do we need to do? So in the previous session, I left the session with a small puzzle saying that what if I want to make sure only the servers that belongs to the payment servers. Okay, I have a team, couple of teams, where I want all the servers that are related to the payment department should be able to read the data. But I also have another team, and the name of the team is users department. And this is, even though this is a part of the network, I want to make sure users or the machines that are falling under the category of users, they should not be having the ability, or they shouldn't be able to mount this file system. That means users who signed into the server or applications who are launched into this payment servers, they should be able to read the data on the file share or write onto the file share, but the servers that belongs to the user department, they shouldn't be having the ability at least to mount. Forget about read or write. I want to make sure users shouldn't be able to access. Okay, how can we make sure? I want to make sure users shouldn't be able to mount. Okay, let me quickly demonstrate that. Okay, let me go there and try to demonstrate. And for the purpose of demo, I have created a couple of servers, payment server and a user server, and all of them are created just few minutes back. And you can see, and now I would like to see what are all the mount points that are mounted. So df-h is a command to see the list of mount points. I could see these are the mount points, and apart from that, there is no other mount point. Okay, now what I would like to do is, first, I would like to mount the same file share onto the both of the mount points. And here I have created a file share, and the name of the file share is payment. Okay, let me show you that. And I have a file system mount point, and the name of the mount point is, or the name of the file share is EFS. Okay, and I have also enabled the encryption as I have shown in the previous session. Now I would like to mount it. Okay, so attach. And first I would like to create a directory, and the name of the directory is mkdir. Okay, payments, anything of your choice. First, I would like to show, okay, user should also be able to mount. Come here, I would like to mount it. Done, and I would like to say, and the name of the mount point is payments. Done. Now I would like to mount the same into the user server as well. First, I would like to show you the likely event. Done. Now here, ls-ltr cd to payments, ls-ltl, there are no files, right? So pay.file, this is a file that I have created in the past. Now I would like to create one more file, ls-ltr, and the name of the file that I would like to create is echo. Today's transactions are 1000, and the name of the file that I would like to create is payshare.txt. Done. Now, since you have created a file, you should be able to see it here as well, payshare. Can you see this? Now, even if you update the number here, okay, now I would like to update the value from 1000 to 3000, and you come here and save it, and you just read the data, you should be able to read the updated value, right? Now, we have one mount point, and you are able to read the data from the payment server, and you are able to read the data from the user server as well. Now, I want to make sure at any point of time, any users or any servers that belongs to the payment server, they should be able to mount, but the users or the servers that belong to the user, they shouldn't be able to do it. How can I do that? Okay, we can deal it in two ways. And one of the way is, okay, one of the way is by using IAM roles. Okay, so we can either use IAM roles or we can also use the security group. So in this session, to keep the demo short, I would like to use the security group. Let me show you how can you do that. Okay, so first, all you need to do is first try to unmount both of it. Unmount both of it. Okay, so just say sudo umount. Done. So umount is a command to unmount. Okay, unmount is like removing the pen drive. Mount is like placing the pen drive. Okay, come here, umount, not unmount. Umount. Done. So you need to do it as a sudo user ls-ltr. Now you see there is no directory mounted. Now I'm gonna create, okay, I'm gonna place a certain strategy that gonna make sure only the servers or only the payments servers can be able to mount the EFS file system, but not the others. How can I deal that? Okay, as I mentioned, there are two options. One of the option is security. And if you look at this file system, okay, go to the network, and in the network, I have created this in two different zones. That means the data will be replicated across two zones. But here it has a security group. Okay, just like any other computing device. Okay, so security is common. You create EKS, you create ECR, you create RTS, you create EC2, or anything. Okay, who can access? Okay, at network level is dealt by security group. So I'm gonna copy the security group and I'll go to VPC. VPC is a network service. Now I'll search for the security group. Now what I'm gonna do is let it load. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to the security group section and I'll search for this particular security group ID that belongs to the EFS. Okay, and the name of the security group is EFS security group. Now come and look at the inbound rules. And here the inbound rule says NFS can be allowed from anywhere. 000/4 can be allowed from anywhere. Now what I'm gonna do is, now the source I'm gonna mention. Okay, so typically in any of the applications that belong to payment will have a specific security group, and applications or the servers that belong to the user will have a user security group, or the applications that belong to a dispatch servers will have a separate security group. And for the demonstration purpose, if you see this payment server is having a security group and the name of the security group payment SG001. And at the same time, if you look at the user, okay, and the user is having another security group and the name of the security group is user. And even if you create 10 servers that belong to the user department, everyone will be typically using the security group. Now, I'm going to mention, hey, if any of the users or any of the servers who has the security group as this, okay, earlier we are using 0000 source, that means hello all. Now I am making the security group as this. Now I'm going to make sure the rule, okay, is this. Okay, you can even use IP addresses or you can also use the security group. Now what I mentioned, okay, so what I mentioned is, okay, what I mentioned is this NFS mount point on 2049 can only be accessed by the machines that are having this as a security group 341, which is nothing but the payment security group. Okay, 1 minute, add a rule. Okay, done. And NFS, save it. And if you look at the inbound, so EFS, and if you look at the inbound one more time, and the inbound says this can be only be allowed. Okay, this 2409 can only be accessed by the machines that is having the security group as this. Okay, now you go here and try to mount it, payment server. Okay, where is mount? Okay, now DF and H, CD2 payments, you should be able to see the data. Okay, any servers that are having payment as a security group, those guys are entitled to access. Okay, that means because we have whitelisted or allowed only the machines that are having the security group as a source. Now, if you try to do the same thing here, it will not work. Okay, so let me try to show you that. Okay, look at the bottom of my screen. And if you try to look at this, okay, obviously you'll get a connection timeout exception because I have made sure that the users won't be having access. That also means I only whitelisted the security group that is associated with the payment server. Okay, so in case if you create one more server and if for that server for that server. If that belongs to payment or if it is being used by payment security group, then only it can mount. Okay, this way you can restrict a particular a server or particular EC2 instance can access a server or EFS mount point or not. Now my next question to you, what if? Okay, this is quite straightforward. Okay, I got it. Now what if I want to make sure my payment servers, okay, I can have 20 payment servers. I want to make sure all my 20 payment servers should have only read access, but they should not be able to write. I have 100 payment servers. All my 100 payment servers, even if they mount the EFS mount point, I want to make sure they should be only be reading the data, but not write. But in the while in the other case, the VMs that belongs to the user department or the user VMs, they should have the ability to both read and write. And even user VMs can be 100 or 200. How can I make sure? Okay, whatever we did is a primitive way, like whether you can access or not. I don't care whether what you are doing. That means whether you read, write, I'm not caring. Okay, I just whitelisted and they're able to read and write. But what if I want to make sure all the VMs that belongs to the payment department should be able to read the data on the EFS mount point, but users or the VMs that belongs to the user department, they should have the complete ability. How can we do that? If I get this video 20 comments saying that how can we restrict certain VMs should be able to read and certain VM should be able to write. If I get 20 comments and 20 likes, I'm going to release the next video. Okay. And if you like the video, please hit a like and share the video. And if you like the content, please subscribe the channel. And the next video is going to be very interesting. And if I get 20 likes for this video, and I'm going to demonstrate how can certain VMs can read and write. Okay. And the next video is going to be how can you access VMs without the need of public IP, and at the same time, how can you restrict the users, or how can you restrict uh, certain users can do certain actions, and how can you monitor the activity of the users when they're doing SSH without the need of public IP? And that's going to be very interesting. Stay tuned to the channel, and yes, please hit the like button if you like the channel. Thank you very much.